What is up, everyone? We're back for week 13, and I'm going to tell you guys who's leading the Pick'ems competition here in a second.
I'm the best.
No. I already have been dealing with for at least like 6 months now. It's kind of becoming your shtick. The extra comments in the outro. We don't need extra comments in the intro also. We already got extra comments in the outro. We're not bringing it to the intro, Joe.
I forgot that we could do it on the intro as well until right now. That's how smart I am.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's a reflection on you, my friend, because it's the same video you played.
It's just different time in the thing.
Oh yeah, we could do it now too.
What's up, everyone? We're gonna go through every game this week, and we're gonna give you our picks as we do every week. We're gonna update you guys on who's leading the competition because this is a competition. This is a challenge. If you guys want to join in on it yourselves, the link is in the description. You do not have to keep up every single week, as me and Joe have proven in the Run Your Pool.
No, you don't.
But you can win week-to-week prizes that I give away. This week, I'm getting them one of those mystery boxes with the autographed jersey I used to play with a lot. I'm going to send one to the winner. So you guys want to go enter if you're watching the replay or live. Link should be in the description. If not, I'll add it right after the episode. You guys ready? Tony, Joe, how's your week going so far? Not great.
I was like, Tony's not having a great week.
I'm having a tremendous week. Why? What's going on?
Oh, you froze for a second.
No, I was just going to let you speak first so you didn't have to follow my amazing week. Getting my shit back together, getting back in the gym because I need to. I usually make a lot of mistakes and just continue to splurge all the way through the holiday season. But I decided not to do that. So feeling good about that. Chargers get the Raiders this week, which I'm absolutely pumped for that. They coming off of a huge victory. What's not to be happy about?
Yeah, and I'm having a good week. Happy late birthday, Tony.
Thank you.
We didn't get to say it on the air, but you're looking good, my friend. You're looking good.
That's right. Mike Gundy style. Oh, man, I'm 40.
And Mike mentioned it earlier, or I don't know if he mentioned it on the program, but this is a week that's going to shake up our pick'ems. There's a lot of games that can go both ways. It's rivalry week, division week. A lot of these are rematches from earlier in the season that can just shake it up. And some of the playoff matches, some of this is going to have playoff implications. So I'm ready for this NFL weekend.
Oh, 100%. I counted like 7 games that could easily be the game of the week on most weeks, but they're all loaded up into this one week where we have crazy offenses going against great defenses. Got the division rivalry games. We already saw one on Thursday Night Football, and just good matchups. Good matchups this week. Going to create some good games, I think. You guys ready to get started or anything else before we show them how great we are at picking Thursday night games? Look at that. How many times have we all three gotten it right on Thursday this year? This first one?
I think this is back-to-back weeks because we all went 3 for 3 last Thursday.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. It's a 4-game win streak.
Oh, I'm loading the wins up now. They're coming.
Wasn't there some bonus points for calling the score exactly right?
No.
I didn't know we were calling scores, but if you want a bonus point, you might as well. Because
that was only 2 games behind Joe instead of 3. Bonus point for me. Fix the graphic. I'm at 107, and we got this one right. I mean, it was looking like a game that was pretty predictable for these two. Usually these two go back and forth. The only, wild cards in there was Josh Allen going to really lock in and keep the turnovers down, and he did. And when he does, they win usually.
So I just have one bone to pick real quick. I don't even know the number 27 Bryant or whatever for the Patriots. When he's rolling out to his right and your defender is trying to take down a giant and he's about to push him out of bounds and he leaps out, what do you think he's going to do? Like, where do you think the ball is going to be thrown? Like, he just stands there and lets the ball go by him and doesn't do anything to try and defend it. Like, that's exactly what I want. I want Josh Allen rolling to his right, pressure on him, and then I just get to turn around and face up and play defense. That's a pick, and it's probably going the other way for points or at least good field position in that case. And he just looks at it and lets the ball go by him. I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is such an easy interception. That's really the only – I didn't learn a whole lot other than the fact that Belichick and the Patriots have overachieved to be 6-6 at this point in the season. Like, this is back-to-back games where the offense looks – it just looks miserable, which is going to play into the fact. I want you to remember, last week, Mac Jones threw for 382 yards against who? The Minnesota Vikings. So just remember that stat when we get to the Vikings-Jets game later on.
Oh, don't tell me he took the Jets.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
I don't know. What I saw last night from the Patriots team is I saw a team that's not going to win a game the rest of the season. Patriots did their thing. I do love Stevenson. He is on my fantasy team. We keep feeding the rock. But did you guys see the video of Mac Jones yelling on the sideline about how the running game sucks and they need to pass the ball?
I think there's a big misconception on that video. I think he's saying the short game sucks because they kept dinking and dunking even down 2 scores late in the game. And I think he wanted to stretch the field and take some shots. I think he said the short game sucks. We need to throw the effing ball is what he was yelling. But Matt Patricia is getting a lot of flack today because the offense is just so bad. But to be fair, it's not a very good offense. I mean, if it wasn't an offense on a Bill Belichick team, it'd be one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
It's so bad. It's so not fun to watch. And I get what Mac Jones is saying. Like, let's air it out. And you think that you'd have a better chance to do that without Von Miller. Now, Rousseau was on it last night, and Lawson was winning a lot of his matchups. So I get maybe why they were trying to do a lot of these like comeback. I really was like kind of nauseous because I was like, shit, we're watching the Chargers offense, but Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler are not. Like, this team sucks. Like, why aren't you trying to get the ball deep downfield? But I mean, maybe that's more of I don't know. I don't like Mac Jones yelling at his teammates like that because he's not yelling to inspire them. He's more yelling at them like you would as a veteran quarterback who's won 6 championships, 7 championships, and you're the greatest of all time. And you don't get to do that unless you're Tom Brady. Like, that's just not how life works. You're in your second year, and the fans were cheering for Bailey Zappi 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's basically saying, give me the ball. That's basically what he's saying. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Let me throw that. Yeah. So whatever's going on there in New England, it is what it is. Bill Belichick's dealing with it. I do not think they're going to lose out, though, Joe. That is just you trying to make your Patriots prediction come true.
Who?
Either way, we all took the Bills and
on to this one, where Joe is the one man standing on the side of morality. We got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Houston Texans, and why this game is special and significant is because Deshaun Watson returns this week, if you guys have not heard the news already, and he's returning in Houston against his former team. A lot's going on, and we could talk about a lot of different things for this game. But as far as the game goes itself, Tony, how do you expect this to go down? Because my opinion personally is I just think the Browns are going to lean on the running game still.
Exactly. And that's like, I want every reason. And I sat here and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to pick the Texans. I was like, you know what? This is a chance for me to get a game on these other 2 bums. I'm going to take the Texans and I'm going to talk up Kyle Allen having a special game against a bad defense for the Cleveland Browns. And then the more I sat there, I was like, I don't care how rusty or bad Deshaun Watson is. By the end of the game, he'll look equal to or better than what Brissett's been this year. And they still have Nick Chubb against the Houston Texans, to where the oldest player on the sidelines last week, Jerry Hughes, had to throw over a Gatorade container to try and get the team going on the sidelines for the Texans, who are down 30-0 against the Dolphins. So I'm not saying the Browns could run up the score like that on them. I don't think they have that in their bag right now. But you're telling me I get Nick Chubb against the Texans? that's good for 180 yards and a couple of scores at least. Like, we could even see a revival of Kareem Hunt in this game. That's how bad the Texans are. And Kareem Hunt's been a non-factor for, I don't know, going on 4 weeks in this offense. So I don't like the fact that they scheduled this game. It's a little too like on the nose. Like it just
I was about to say that in the intro also. Do you think that the NFL not schedule makers, but maybe the people deciding the final results in the suspension circled this one on purpose?
Yeah, I think they wanted to make a way for it to be like sort of, let's try and make it the most uncomfortable landing spot possible first. Let's take the team that he shunned, right? Like he said, I don't want to play for this. In his press conference, I have the utmost respect for the McNair family. Really? You signed for guaranteed money, and then like 12 months later was like, I don't want to play for this horseshit organization, even though you guys already gave me an extension on my early on my contract. So like you could see I don't like I'm out on Deshaun Watson. My personal feelings aside, he's a good football player. I understand why the Browns did what they did, but like they put it here because even when he goes on the road, you're going to get protests. You're going to get people saying the nastiest shit. So they were like, let's just see how bad it could be. Let's put him where the fans hate him for shunning him, and you're going to have people shouting out awful shit at this guy on the field. Like, let's just see how bad it could be. We'll put him in his former team on the road in his first week back.
Kind of a rip off the Band-Aid situation, huh? Joe, what's your thoughts on the game? Your thoughts on the situation? You're taking the Texans even down Brendan Cooks?
Because any right NFL fan wants to see Deshaun Watson come in and get his ass whooped in the first game that he comes back. That's me. I want to see his ass laying on the field every goddamn play. I don't care. I'm personal feelings right here out in front of everybody. I don't care for him. Want to get him beat up. He hasn't played football. Well, he played in the preseason, but he hasn't played meaningful football in over 2 years, in almost 2 years. So come on. And then to say that he came out and he's an elite quarterback, his team last time he played on the team, his team was what, 4-12. It's not like he went out there and made the team win games. I understand Cleveland Browns are a good team. They went and beat Tampa Bay last week. The Texans are on a 6-game losing streak, but sometimes teams get a little bit in them, and they come out here and they come out and they prove a message. And if the Houston Texans want to prove something, this is a time where you come out and you tell Deshaun Watson, 1, you screwed up, 2, you embarrassed our organization, and 3, we just don't like you. And the fact, and Damian brought it up, the fact that they're going to have 10 accusers at the game, to me, that's another story, and I don't want to get into it. That's something else. But yeah, I just, as an NFL fan, want Deshaun Watson to lose this game.
It's one of those weird scenarios where comments like this, it's like, how do you even react to it? Hey, don't wish for injury on a person that was accused of what he did. Like, what? I agree with you, Joe. Every fan wants to see Deshaun Watson lose, and I'm looking at their schedule right now, and I'm very suspicious because the last 3 games they played the Bucks, Bills, and Dolphins. The next 2 games they played the Bengals and the Ravens, and they just centered his return day on this one.
It's 11 games is also a weird suspension number to have. It's just like everything adds up for it to be kind of weird. And the 10 accusers showing up at the game, this just draws more negative headlines that the NFL didn't want, and why I thought it was going to be another year suspension to begin with. But the last thing I'll say about, he got to the podium and he was like, yeah, I've been advised not by my mental health team and my agents and my legal team not to speak on this. And it's like, you can't speak on it because we don't know how many more accusers are out there. We don't know how many more people might come forward with you saying some ignorant shit or some stuff that makes you sound even guiltier, and more people come and there's more things. So it's like, you can't touch this for many reasons, not because you were advised, yes, you were advised to, but just like, you shouldn't talk about it. You should just try to bury this deep down, and who's ever going to get over it and be on board with you will, and whoever won't. Like, just move forward, just power forward and play your career, which I don't think will be like as long and as storied as we thought it was going to be a few years ago. This is still the Cleveland Browns organization, everybody.
Yeah, and he looked magical to start off the career. Like, he looked like he was going to be one of those quarterbacks that is one of the guys for years to come, especially with his style of play, the way he can run and throw the ball like that. It's kind of the way the game is shifting towards. Anyways, but yeah, I think I'm with
Watson
Joe.
will get the Houston Astros treatment the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's gonna get that. Yeah, people
Speaking
hitting
of
the
Astros, we got Piggy in the house banging on two.
Yeah.
already.
All of
First
a
thing he
sudden.
says. We're talking about Cleveland, Houston here. Try and talk about Cleveland, Houston, Piggy, in the chat. We'll get to your Dolphins here in a minute. But I agree with Joe that I want the Browns to lose. But I agree with Tony that I think the Browns are going to win because the problem is not stopping Watson as much as it is Nick Chubb against this. Texans had the worst rush defense in the league. I think it's the only one worse than the Chargers. I think. I'm not 100% sure on the stats. On to the next game here. We're all in agreement on this one. Denver Broncos on the road in Baltimore. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens did just drop a game to the Jaguars, but in my estimation, even though I think the Broncos beat the Jaguars, even though the Broncos and the Jaguars played tight, I look so down on this Broncos team. And maybe it's the disappointment factor that we expected so much more. But Tony, any chance for Denver here and Russell Wilson with all of the reports and all of the things that are coming out of there?
No, and I don't even really want to talk too much football unless I want to talk about the off-the-field stuff for both teams. 30 people showing up for your birthday party. I'm hearing a lot of people talking shit about Russell Wilson. That's a good number of turnouts. People act like, yeah, I remember one summer, my July birthday, I invited out my whole baseball team, and 6 of them showed up. You got to remember, some of these people are nursing injuries. Some of them have families that they want to be home with on a night off. And some of them might just be, yes, you're right, might not like them, might not want to be there. But 30, over half of them showed up, and people are like, nobody wants to go to this guy's birthday party. Why? Just because he's Russell Wilson? They have families and kids and other priorities and things going off on their off day. So, it's crazy that if you told me it was 4 team members showed up, then I would have been like, shit, it is bad. But 30, that's not bad. The problem is that he's trying to get Nathaniel Hackett fired. He is clearly being defiant in all of the things that are going on in this system. And it's just ugly there. On the other side, there was a lot of people talking about after the Lamar Jackson's tweet after last game, right? That, what he told some guy to go eat a dick or whatever it was.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, this guy can't be a franchise quarterback. He can't be whatever. Look, he can't be elite. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? The last guy that we just talked about in the previous segment got $250 million guaranteed. And this guy sent out a tweet that he probably would like to take back. Not to mention, this is the same owner who was trying to find reasons to keep Ray Rice until the video surfaced of him knocking out his lovely fiance in the thing. These guys are so rich and they care about one thing, and that is winning games and going above. Maybe not all of them. Maybe there's an exception. Maybe the Rooneys are super tremendous, great, upstanding citizens or something like that. But there's always going to be skeletons in everybody's past. Joe's holding up the Raider shirt. Goodness gracious. It's not, my thing is this for Lamar Jackson. He did make a mistake. He's under a whole lot of pressure where his number 1 wide receiver is Demarcus Robinson, who was on another team this year and got cut. That's what he's working with here. So Lamar Jackson made a mistake, and I saw a lot of people just talking bad about Lamar Jackson for making a mistake that's yeah, it's shitty. Don't say stuff like that, and especially don't put it out on Twitter. But he'll get over it. He's still going to get paid. He didn't lose any money from this deal. He's still top, 7 quarterback over the next 5 years.
You know how many people went to Bo Scarborough's birthday party, Tony? Huh? 0 of his teammates. And he
Not
was
even the
drafted number
Stallions?
7.
Not even the USFL inaugural season champion Stallions went to see Bo Scarborough's birthday.
I'm talking about a draft day movie, Mike. That you probably
really?
watched.
He's not seeing draft day.
Mike, you never watched Draft Day? Oh,
I don't watch any movies. I knew you were referencing a movie, so I talked about a different Bo Scarborough, but I have not seen any movies.
That's why he didn't go number 1 overall, because nobody went to his birthday party, Mike.
He was one of the best.
Nobody went to his birthday. You got to check that movie out. It's a good movie.
He was a beast at Alabama.
It's a documentary, Mike. It is a treasure, that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Anyways, yeah, I thought this is going to might be the game that Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos get corrected. And then I was like, nah, because Baltimore hasn't been playing good, Tony. We thought we keep saying like, oh, they should have blew out the Panthers. They played a close game with the Panthers last week against Jacksonville. Even though it wasn't a catch, Jacksonville, you got lucky. We're NFL referees don't know what a damn catch is again. All of a sudden, and I just don't like the way that the Baltimore Ravens have been letting these bad teams stick around with them. This right here, Tony, has the making of Baltimore winning 6-0 again, because their offense hasn't been getting going. And you know what the Denver Broncos defense is capable of doing. They could just hold Russell Wilson to 0 and have their offense score 6 to 9 points and they win. So that's why I'm going with Baltimore. But would it shock me if Denver actually beats Baltimore? Nope.
I think what Lamar needs most in this Twitter situation is a cool head, where the tweets go to the cool head, and the cool head just says, "Hey, Lamar, maybe reword this one a little. Take out a couple F-bombs. Take out the part where you tell him to eat a bag of, you know what I mean? And just leave the part in that says that you are a franchise quarterback." But I agree. I think that this is a little bit of a sneaky game just because of the Denver defense. And I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. When the offense was on and Lamar was balling out and everything was going great offensively, the defense was struggling. Now the defense is on and the defense is playing a lot better than what we're used to seeing out of the Baltimore Ravens. And now the offense has completely almost shut down. So I don't know. I don't have as many high hopes, especially heading closer and closer towards the playoffs for the Ravens.
The defense is losing interest. They let the Panthers, their strength is running the football. Harrison, get on board with me in this one. The Panthers beat the snot out of the Broncos last week. And this is a team that could still win the worst division in football, at least record-wise or whatever it is. But, like, Devonta Freeman, he was just trucking people. The Broncos defense is even like, why are we putting our bodies on the line when we can't do anything? And then some guy like Mike Purcell, I hope I'm saying his name right, calls out Russ in the fashion in which he did. Like, I don't care what he was saying or what, like, he could have been saying, like, let's go, let's fire it up. Russ looked scared. Russ looked like if just giant people were coming around me and screaming in my face, like unsolicited, I'd be like, what was that? Like, what are you doing? I'm trying to get out here. It's Russell Wilson time.
Yikes. Harrison's asking, is Lamar hurt or something? There's the last 2 years, Tony and I and Tony, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you and I have both questioned some of the missed practices by Lamar Jackson, because it's not injury related, but they always go, Lamar missed with an illness. There's an illness. So do you really think that there's something behind the scenes that with Lamar still, or anything like that?
That he's injured?
Injured, or maybe they're hiding some kind of actual sickness that he has?
No, I don't think so. The problem with him is that he's in a situation where, like, the organization clearly does not want to pay him, and he is trying to get paid. So it's like a weird thing that's going on with them, where he wants like a certain level, and the Baltimore Ravens are saying, like, we're not giving you that number. Like, they reportedly offered him 185 guaranteed, and he wants 250 or something. Like, do they meet somewhere in the middle where it's 236, so he just gets the highest guaranteed money or something? Maybe, but to be honest, I think that they trade Lamar Jackson. I think it's one of the big things we're going to see this summer, and Lamar Jackson is playing for another team where there's going to be a lot of picks involved, and the Ravens just sort of move on and regroup.
Jets, Jets.
That would be
especially
fun.
With
New York Giants. That'd be fun too.
Yeah. I can see it too, because what's his name? The offensive coordinator,
Greg Roman, just went to interview with Stanford.
Yeah, so Greg Roman's more than likely going to leave as well. So you might as well revamp the whole offense.
Yeah, I think that would be actually a good thing if they did re-sign him and they brought somebody else in there who said, like, hey, let's keep Demarcus Robinson, but let him be number 3. I saw Piggy said something that Lamar nor Newton never had number 1 wide receivers. Cam Newton played with Steve Smith Sr., who's going to be a Hall of Famer. That is the number 1 wide receiver. Go check Steve Smith's stats. This guy was a monster. And I know you're old enough to remember Steve Smith.
He
played with Steve Smith.
He knows Steve Smith. Yeah, he did have Steve Smith. And the situation with the Baltimore Ravens offense is that you can tell they don't necessarily think that they need wide receivers because they don't use them as much. It makes sense that they would try and get them in the draft. They just haven't really drafted wide receiver well. On to the next game here. We got the New York Jets on the road in Minnesota. Two guys rocking with the Vikings here. One guy rocking with Mike White and the New York Jets. Tony, I'll let you go ahead and go first as the outlier out on the side here. By the way, guys, this pick is no reflection on Tony's record. This kind of pick is not the reason that Tony's down by 6 games at all.
I can't even believe that you're going to talk shit about this one. I got some more wild ones coming up later, too. It is Mike White time. Okay, Mike White is not the future of the team, and he's not great or whatever, but he's good enough and has enough NFL experience to get the ball to a very talented receiving corps. Like, even Conklin they even have good tight ends that can catch the ball that we've seen, right? The offensive line is good enough to give you time. It's just showing you that Zach Wilson. Do you guys think that Zach Wilson, everybody keeps going, well, Mike White did it against the Bears. Do we really think that it was going to be any different? Like, if Zach Wilson played in that game, that he was going to put up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns? Like, do you have any reason to believe that was going to be the case? No. Mike White will be good enough against a Vikings defense that at home gave up 382 yards to the Patriots. You guys watched the Patriots last night. That is a terrible offense. Like, so if they even are in the neighborhood of that, right? And then the other kid that I saw last week that I thought played really well was Zonovan Knight. He's not Breece Hall, but he looked better behind the line than James Robinson did at times, or Michael Carter. So if they can get a decent game out of him, like, I'm not saying the Jets are going to crush the Vikings, but everybody's on the Vikings like they're really, really good. I'm just not there with the Vikings, and I think that the best unit in this game is the Jets defense. So give me the Jets defense. I'm looking for Sauce to lock it up with Justin Jefferson. Yeah, he's going to get beat. I'm not saying he's going to lock him down, but he's going to make it a tough day for him. Cousins will panic and throw an interception. It's going to happen. Jets are going to get this game 27-24.
Joe, your thoughts?
He threw for 78% last week. 78% from Mike White. There's no repeating that, Tony. There's no coming back into that. He threw for 3 touchdowns. Last year, when he started what? 3 games last year? He threw for 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The real Mike White's going to come back out. Minnesota's not the Chicago Bears. They're not going to get those opportunities. Sauce Gardner is going to get lit up by my boy, Justin Jefferson, and the Minnesota Vikings win this game easily.
I'm afraid of
why Jacob is doing the giddy all the way out.
I'm afraid of Mike White's last appearance in the NFL as well, because Mike White came out and did the exact same thing last year. I think he threw for 4 touchdowns in that game and 400 yards to wide open wide receivers against a bad defense. And this year against the Bears, wide open wide receivers against a bad defense. And then the next 3 games, they tried to run Mike White back out there. I'm pretty sure Mike had like 10 interceptions in 3 games and got stomped 50-0 in all 3 of the games. It was ugly. It was that bad.
He got injured in the next game, and then Josh Johnson came in and threw for 400 yards against that defense. Josh Johnson came in and threw for 400 yards. It was the first time that you had 2 back-to-back 400-yard games by 2 different quarterbacks or whatever it was. Then they brought Mike White back a couple weeks later, and he ended up getting smoked by the Bills, who we all think have a top-level defense, and they didn't have Garrett Wilson last year. Elijah Moore wasn't in his 2nd year. They didn't have 2 tight ends. It's a different team for Mike to be playing with this year. Like, the Jets are they're a good football team.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are going to win. I don't think they're that good of a football team. I don't. I really don't. I think they have good players. They have good young talent that rises to the occasion and has gotten them more wins than I thought they were going to get this year. But I still don't believe that they're as good as the Vikings. And I don't think Mike White is anywhere near as good as Kirk Cousins. Like, not even close. And I'm a Mike White, not fan, but meme believer. I like the memes. the Mike White memes. All right.
Oh,
And the Vikings coming off extra rest.
You guys just added juice to this one for me. I can't wait. I hope Mike White torches them.
Mike White's going to throw for 3 interceptions in this game. 2 of them are going to be to Pat Peterson. Watch it. Watch it happen.
And that's how much respect we have for the Jets' opponent last week is the Bears, that we're all picking the crappy-ass Packers this week to beat the same team that Mike White just tore up.
I'm a nose goes in that Bears take, Joe. Not going to say a word.
By the 4-8 Green Bay Packers. Like, we're all convinced that this powerhouse Packers team, who also can't beat anybody, is going to take down the Bears. I think this is a last hurrah for Aaron Rodgers, if he can even make it all the way through this game, right? So I look at this as they're going to have Justin Fields out there. How long can he stay in the game? It looks like he's going to play this week. And that made me a little on the edge of changing my pick, but it's still Aaron Rodgers, and it's still a bad Bears defense. So I will take the Green Bay Packers to win this one, but not in a blowout. I don't think the Bears are getting smoked by this Green Bay Packers team. This isn't a I still own you type situation for Aaron Rodgers. This is like, hey, I'm going to put you guys on the market because I might have to sell and go retire and do ayahuasca in South America. Like, I'm not going to own you much longer. Justin Fields is coming, and my time is coming to an end.
What the hell, Zero? What is this? What is this, Zero? You know this isn't true. I change picks like once in a while, all right? We're overplaying this a little bit.
Zero, a.k.a. the hero, bouncing back from that stupid Raiders comment you had at the first part.
Once I saw that Justin Fields was playing, and I think he's going to play the whole game, I almost changed my pick in this one. But like Tony was saying, I just think Chicago is playing well enough, and they're playing good enough to improve on next season, and that's what they want. They want to stay competitive and show that they're making strides and getting ready for next year when they bring some more people in and show those free agents like, hey, we have a good team here. Come on in. But they're not going to beat the Green Bay Packers. I think Packers are on a down year, and it wouldn't surprise me if Justin Fields has some great runs against them, but the Packers should have enough to win this game, and it's going to be close like Tony said, but hey, I'd rather Jordan Love start the game now.
Me too. It's not that I want to see Aaron Rodgers' career end here. I just want to see him go out on a healthy game, and I think that if he keeps playing, he's just not going to make it to the end.
At some point, somebody's going to do the parallels of Favre and Jordan, like Favre, Rodgers, Jordan, Love. Somebody's going to put together a nice piece of how all this stuff went down. The only difference is the year that they drafted Aaron Rodgers, Favre was hurt the year before that. So they had Favre's only losing season, I think it was like 4-12 or something like that. They drafted Jordan Love when the Packers probably shouldn't have even been looking at quarterback at that point. Like, unless he had given them some indication that he was going to retire, like Jordan Love should have ended up on another team and he should have already had run. You know, like it should have been, I don't know, Jacksonville or something like that. Like he should have ended up on another squad and already be showing what he could do.
Somewhere, anywhere. We're all in the Packers, y'all. Who do you guys got in this one? Let us know in the chat. On to the next one. We got another split here. Tony.
Tony and Danny Dimes.
Going away. A little strategy here, trying to get back in here. Now, all of a sudden, we believe in Danny Dimes against Tyler Heineke.
This is why Tony's on the bottom.
Tony.
This is why Tony's on the bottom.
Tony. Please. This is why we don't let you make the graphics, Tony, because you'd be going crazy just to go opposite of us.
Let me in. I'll let you in on a little Taylor Heineke theory. This is just how and who he is. He's been playing well in a couple games in a row, and it will fall off. Like it's who he is. He gets a little bit confident and a little bit more confident, and then all of a sudden he starts thinking he is Brett Favre, but he's not. Like he does not have the arm talent or the length to be able to do this. Like the rope that Favre had to be out there and make mistakes is much longer than Taylor Heineke will ever have. It just is. That's how it's going to work. The Packers traded draft picks for him, but I love Heineke because he reminds me of him. But every once in a while, he's going to get too confident, and it'll be this week against the Giants, and he's going to make a couple too many mistakes in this game, and the Giants are going to capitalize on it, and they're going to win an ugly football game at home while being pushed by the crowd. Saquon Barkley is going to have a very, very difficult game, right? But I think that like the hero is going to be some tight end we don't even know the name of, right? It's going to be Tanner Hudson or something like that. It's going to catch a game-winning touchdown from Daniel Jones. They win 16-13. Giants win.
I just can't believe
the Giants 100%.
Here we go. Here we go with this again. Conspiracies being spread in the chat, everybody. But
Harrison loves Tony.
I spent 12 weeks of my life not believing in Washington, and you finally convinced me, Tony, and the team finally convinces me. And now you go opposite, and I don't know what to do. I might change to the Giants right before the game starts.
You should not. You should stick with the Washington Commanders.
Look, I'm going to tell you something, Tony. Barkley is looking tired the last couple of games. He's 37 carries away from having as many carries that he had his rookie season, which is the most in his career. They are running this dude down. And you got to remember, he just came back from the injury. Like, this is his first full season that he's going to play in a while because of all these injuries that he's had. And we got to see that he has to keep going, Tony. He's looking like he's getting tired. The last 3 or 4 games, he's not doing well. And now you're putting him up against another good front seven. I'm not doing it. And Giants have no wide receivers. You already saw that. And now you want me to go, okay, Danny Dimes, win the game by yourself. And you're the one. I'm usually the one rooting for Danny Dimes. You're the one that's always putting him down. And now you're going opposite. Washington has a special run going right now.
This game will be sloppy. There will be 6 turnovers in this game. Like, there's going to be a lot of, hey, you win this game. No, I'll win this game. No, I want you to win it. Like, there's going to be back and forth, messy football between 2 guys that are probably backup quarterbacks. Like, Taylor Heineke could be a starter on the exact team that he's on, but not many. Like, if you look at Washington's defense, they're not giving up a ton of yards running the ball. And since they have gotten rid of, who was it, Landon Collins? I always mix up, like, it was Landon Collins they had back there at safety for a long time. They wanted to play linebacker, and he wouldn't switch. Since they've kind of worked out the back end, even the pass defense has been better. It's impassable. So, like, I do think that Washington is good. I think Washington will make the playoffs. And when Washington gets the game at home against the Giants after the bye, I most likely will be picking Washington as long as Heineke's still starting. But in this game, Heineke's feeling himself. I'm telling you right now, he's going to be like, oh, I could make that throw. And he's going to step up, and you're going to be like, who is he throwing it to? Interception. There it is.
Harrison, Chase Young, by all indications, is ready to play on Sunday. He is good to go. They're just going to make the determination because they're afraid to let him play on the MetLife field because we've seen so many injuries on that field. So they're going to wait till Sunday to actually say yes to Chase Young, but they're worried about the field that they're playing on.
Chase Young, stay away from MetLife. Just don't do it. My injury happened in MetLife as well. But, yeah, my biggest thing for this game is the defenses because the defenses fueled Washington's winning streak with just average offense, good enough offense, clean offense. And for New York, the way they started the season was fueled by the defense as well, winning a bunch of close games. Right now, the New York defense is not playing great anymore. And the Washington defense is playing better and better, it seems like, with each week. So I'm going with Washington. That's the reason I chose.
Washington!
Nothing to do with the offenses. Nothing to do with the offenses. I don't like either quarterback. I don't like either. Well, I like Brian Robinson, but I don't like either rushing attack to just dominate. But yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I am changing this pick. I'm going with the Jags.
Oh, shit.
I'm waiting all year for all of us to be on the same train as
First
Detroit.
pick change of the year.
Put your ass over to Jacksonville. We don't care, Mike. We want you to take that L. So go ahead. I wish we could just pick you up and move your ass over because you'll take that L again.
Can I drag and drop myself? I don't even know what I was thinking by originally going this direction, honestly.
So next time that I'm asked to do the graphics, I will make sure that I make a backup switch pick for Mike for each one. I'll just
no. Just for the Lions game and the Raiders game, Tony. Just the Lions game and the Raiders game. That's all I need it for.
The
Lions are looking good.
Yeah.
This is a tough one for me. I was very much picking the Jaguars a lot. And, I was like, you know what? The Lions have shown me that they'll fight, they're competitive, and they are getting back talent. They lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving, but they've had a little bit more time. Hopefully Swift is healthy, and Amon-Ra St. Brown left that game healthy. The tight ends are starting to get worked in just enough to give Goff another option there. DJ Chark is back now a couple weeks from injury, a good red zone threat there. So I like the Lions, and the defense has been making plays. They're playing very opportunistic football, and I think that's going to be enough for them to pull out a late game at home. But this game to me, is exciting and fun. Like I am looking forward to watching the Lions and Jaguars. Like there's a lot of players on both sides of the football to be excited about for these two teams.
Yeah, this should be a high-scoring, back-and-forth game, but Detroit is going to take it. Detroit, Mike, come on. How can you not like what Detroit is doing? Dan Campbell getting this team ready. Trevor Lawrence and that offense got lucky last week with the late touchdown by the referees, and they should be sending them bouquets and flowers and all kinds of stuff. But and is Williamson playing this week? Is he back?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I know he got activated. That he got that little 21-day practice window, so they might be adding a little bit more wrinkle to that. St. Brown was back on his game last week. The Detroit Lions making noises. We're making that run for the NFC playoffs, Mike.
Oh shit!
I think no, don't start this. I think the Lions have shown a lot of grit over the last 4 weeks, but grit doesn't get you through an entire season of football. Just to get you through an entire season of football is good game planning and taking care of your bodies and doing all the stuff it takes to get on. Amon-Ra St. Brown comes out of every game. He comes out of every game in some way, shape, or form with an injury. I think that the Jaguars and the Lions are two teams that showed a lot of fight last week, and they're going to continue to do that. Both these teams probably look at this game and think, we could win this game. I think the Jaguars score 3 more points because their quarterback is 3 points better than Jared Goff. That's what I'm going with. Go Jags. Duval. Christian Kirk is about to cook up 30 fantasy points for my fantasy team. Going on a playoff push here. On to the next one. No. Get this off the screen. Get this off the screen. It's covering up the Chargers logo also. Producer, take this shit off the screen. No. All right. I'm done. We're not going to show. I'm done. Go ahead, Tommy. Tell them how much the Raiders are going to lose. Bye.
So this game to me is way closer than I want it to be. But I still think that the Chargers have enough talent and have shown that they're headed in a decent direction offensively to get the job done. Right? This to me is going to be, can the Raiders minimize turnovers by Derek Carr? Like, can they keep this to where they're not, like, he's not throwing interceptions, he's not losing fumbles? How good is the protection plan to keep Khalil Mack, who had 3 sacks? And I know that the Raiders argument will be like, oh, well, they had to worry about Bosa in the first game too. Sure, I get all of that. But there's still something about the Raiders' offensive line that is like, I just think all of the pass rushers are like, hey, this week I'm going to hit a sack. Like, he's going to step up. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to get a turnover. The Raiders have won back-to-back games in overtime, Joe, if I'm not mistaken.
Denver, Seattle.
Yeah. So, well, it's good for Raider Nation. I'm not so sure that everybody is looking at this game being like, that the Raiders are like, oh, we're back. We've discovered who we are. We're here. Like, when I look at it and I look at the Raiders, I'm like, this is still a bad football team. The Chargers have more talent and should win a close football game.
Go ahead, Mike.
I got nothing to say.
You got nothing to say on this game.
No, the Raider fans ain't said shit to me all week, so I got nothing to say also.
We are back.
I've been talking all week because the Raiders are going to win this game, and I'm going to be in Allegiant Stadium right there to watch them tear up the Justin Herbert and that, whatever. It's going to be a game that the Raiders are going to. I'll be dancing. I'll be like, Raiders, and we'll be yelling and screaming. and I'll be laughing the whole time. Colton Miller coming back, taking 2 weeks off. He'll be back on there. Tony talking about turnovers. Aren't the Raiders like number one in turnovers right now on offense, that they don't turn the ball over? Like they've been losing games.
Did he throw 2 interceptions last week?
Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions last week, but before that, they were still number one. He's only fumbled the ball. Like, yeah, everybody knows that Derek Carr had a fumbling problem, but I think he's only done it twice this year. So they're number one in turnovers this year.
Like they turned it over the most?
Where the Raiders have problems is they're number 30 in takeaways. They haven't been taking the ball away, but they're number one in turnovers. Like, they don't give the ball away.
Okay.
But let me ask you this, Tony. How is your crappy defense? How is that improved? I mean, we're the best defense. We've got all these people. We brought them in. How are you going to stop Josh Jacobs?
And that's my one area of concern, is that can they keep Josh Jacobs under 140 yards? Because for whatever reason, in the first game of the year, the Raiders decided not to run the ball against the Chargers, and that was the best game plan that we could have asked for as Chargers fans. Like, Josh Jacobs was still getting like 6-7 yards a carry in the first game of the season, but you guys kept dropping back, and the game wasn't out of hand, but you kept putting the ball in his hands, and he kept underthrowing receivers. Now, that's game one of the season. What do you think the best game plan is to win with the Raiders in general? Is to just run the football. So, like, the Chargers are going to give up a lot of yards rushing. Just look at their defensive front. Half the time they're out there with like 7 DBs on the field. Josh Jacobs is a big boy. Like, me and Mike rewatched the games, and I would say 60% of the snaps, they have 2 D linemen in the game. That shit has to change, or Josh Jacobs is going to go for 250. Like, he'll go back-to-back 300-yard games. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and be like, well, how are we going to stop Josh Jacobs? They can't stop James Conner, who didn't have a fucking 100-yard rushing game since he was in Pittsburgh. My thing is this. When it gets to the goal line, can you make a stand? Can you make Daniel Carlson have the most fantasy points on that team? Can you make Carlson hit 4 or 5 field goals on Sunday? Because I have a strong belief that Herbert and Eckler and Keenan and Palmer and Everett are all going to be in the end zone.
Yeah. Well, Keenan Allen just said that something about he's going to roasted chicken the secondary or something like that.
That's what he usually does. But the key is we did give up a ton of yards to Nick Chubb. We did give up a ton of yards to James Conner. We've given up a ton of yards to almost every team and every running back that we've seen this year. We're still finding ways to buckle down in the important moments in games and throw something spicy out there for defenses in the form of a blitz, in the form of one of those heavy set packages that we've seen, Tony, that doesn't get used ever, even though we have it. All of that stuff, it all comes into play in the big moments, and we're going to make Derek Carr throw, and Derek Carr's got to make the throw. Joe, if Derek Carr makes the throw, you'll be celebrating in Allegiant. If Derek Carr misses the throw, which he usually does, you're going to be sad again. And what is the Raiders' record in the last couple of years when you've gone to the games?
When I've gone to the games?
Yeah, like last year, how many Raider games did you go to?
I only went to one Raider game last year.
Did they win that game?
No.
What about this year? How many have you been?
I haven't gone to Allegiant Stadium. This will be my second game in Allegiant Stadium, and they won that first one. So there'll be 2-0 with me in Allegiant Stadium.
Joe, wasn't another one a preseason game?
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, I'll be at Allegiant Stadium to watch the Chargers get beat down. The last time I went to a Charger game, the Chargers lost. Just to let you know. That's the last time I went to a Charger game. Then I went to the Chargers-Chiefs game, and the Chargers lost. So
you can't jinx your rival. You can only jinx yourself, all right?
I'm just saying, did your quarterback take the podium and cry and say that the Raider Nation deserves better and that they should play? And since he's done that, 2-0. 2-0. Josh Jacobs last time after week 1 was pissed off he didn't get the ball enough against the Chargers. Tony's been talking all season. Now he's all quiet now. He didn't want to face the Raiders later on in the season because he didn't want the Raiders to correct themselves. The Raiders are not the same team from week 1. Even in week 1, when Carr threw all those interceptions, they turned the ball over 3 times, which they haven't done since. Last week was their worst time turning the ball over since that game. Last week they had, 2 turnovers? Since week 1, that's when they had 3. Since that, it's been perfect. Their offense is they're going. They're top 10 offense coming in here against this crappy ass defense, Mike. Come on.
You have confidence in your defense.
I have so much confidence in the Raiders this weekend because we know how the Chargers are at the end of the year. They choke it. They choke. They go.
Put that flag on the line then. Put that flag on the line then in the background. Put that flag on the line on the background. Put that flag in the background on the line. I want to see a Chargers flag if the Chargers win this weekend for at least a month.
Yeah, and then you got to put your whole background as a Raiders.
No. I'm not as confident as you, Joe. You're more confident than me. Put that flag on the line.
Go one way. It's going to go both ways. I got to get something out of this too. Do I got to send you another thing of shit?
That's not how scams work.
Look, just telling you, this is just the way it's going to go down, Mike. The Chargers are right here in second place, and the Raiders are working their way on up. Moving on up. Come on, Tony. Moving on up.
To the AFC West.
They win, they're in third place still. It's the same result, win or lose.
Yeah. But not only are we going to kick your ass, not only do the Raiders get to kick the Los Angeles Chargers ass,
put the flag on the line.
They get to turn around 4 days later and whoop the Los Angeles Rams ass. They get to take LA down in a 4-day span. The real LA team shows up.
I will be picking Bryce Perkins next Thursday.
Yeah,
Bryce Perkins not even starting this week.
Wait, Wolford's starting?
Yeah,
that's even better.
It's terrible. Wolford sucks.
On to the next one. That was a fun segment. I enjoy every Chargers versus Raiders discussion.
Raiders! Come on, Mike.
I never talk shit to you, Joe, ever. Like in text or whatever after. We're good. We're good.
We're just gonna see what happens.
Don't worry. I'll have 4 hours of me just texting. How about them Raiders after the game when I'm driving home?
You're gonna look like Derek Carr in a presser on your way home. Is what you're gonna look like. But yeah, we got a heavyweight matchup here: Tennessee Titans, Philadelphia Eagles. And I say it's a heavyweight matchup because these two teams like to put it on teams. They like to brutally punish teams in the run game. We're all going Philly, but I think that at least I think that this game is gonna be a fun one to watch just because of the styles of these two teams. But what's your thoughts, Tony?
I think this is a very interesting, fun game to watch, right? Tennessee this is the kind of games that Tennessee wins when they're the underdogs and everybody's kind of picking against them. They've done this the past couple of years where they go on the road, they beat the Chiefs. And I think earlier this year they would have beat the Chiefs if it wasn't for Malik Willis starting, right? And in the past years they've gone to Buffalo or whatever and beat them. Like they just find a way to get up for opponents. I think the game planning is there and it's good. Derrick Henry's been struggling a little bit to really get going and be dominant. And the one weakness for the Eagles defense has been run. That's why they brought in Joseph and Sue. So I think if Jordan Davis is back and active for this game, combined with those two, I think they can continue a trend where this game is going to come down to can Tannehill make enough plays in the passing game, where I don't necessarily think that will be the case. And I think Jalen Hurts will make enough plays in the passing game to bring out some sort of an edge. But this feels low scoring, 20-17, real knockout, but real fun. Even though it's low scoring, it's like a very entertaining football game where great players are making great plays. I'm excited about watching this one too.
Joe, your thoughts?
I almost went with Tennessee because the one way to beat the Eagles, you got to run all over them, right? You got to run, you got to do it. But I just don't trust Ryan Tannehill enough. I thought Tennessee was going to put up a better game against the Bengals. But if they could keep the Eagles' offense on the field, keep Derrick Henry going, it would be the way to win. But I don't see it. I don't see it. I think the Eagles win this game and they win it easily.
Okay. Yeah, and my thing that's got me leaning Philly, and I think the same things as you, Tony, that Tennessee could be sneaky in this game. They could win this game. But I think Philly has a different gear that they can switch on when they need to. And if it comes down to it, when this game does slow down and they're stuck in a battle here with Tennessee Titans, they can go to that second gear. I just mean in the passing game, having those wide receivers that are so good for Jalen Hurts going down the field. So if things do get a little bit tense for Philly and they turn it up into that second gear, I don't think Tennessee can keep up still. I don't. But Treylon Burks could have an explosion, or Robert Woods could have a really good game. And they could produce that second gear that I think Philly can reach for if they need to. I'm sure that they're completely fine with just pounding the rock all day, though, in Philly.
This the last thing. I think that there will be somewhat of a game plan to try and neutralize A.J. Brown, which makes things a lot nicer for Quez Watkins and Devonta Smith to get downfield and make some plays in this football game.
This could be a A.J. Brown revenge scenario, too. I forgot about that little wrinkle in here. A.J. Brown fits so nicely in Philly that I just feel like he's been an Eagle this whole time.
A lot of revenge happening this weekend.
Yeah. Speaking of revenge, looking for revenge. The Chiefs have been getting beat by Joe Burrow and the Bengals the last couple times they've played now. Tony, you're thinking that continues?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the Chiefs are really good, but not nearly as good as everybody else thinks they are. Like, we just go, oh, well, they just got Patrick Mahomes and it'll just work. He didn't look great against the Chargers, in my opinion. He looked good enough, and Travis Kelce made plays, right? And that's what you need. And then I watched a good portion of that second half, the Chiefs and Rams. Like, he's not good. That was not good football. Like, it just was bad decisions, maybe bad play calling. I'm not sure. And the Bengals are a good football team. Like, these are two teams I could see this being a AFC championship game, rematch type game. Mike, it's the reality of the situation. You could easily see these two teams going back. Like, they have time. They're getting back potential Chase and Mixon in this game. I think that our defense is good enough to neutralize a running game that the Chiefs have been trying to build. Figure something out there. Joe Burrow is going to put points on the board. T. Higgins is going to have another 100-yard receiving game and a touchdown. And I'm here. Hayden Hurst do a little eating himself. Bengals close. Hopefully not a heartbreaker. And you know what? Fuck it. Hopefully it rip your heart out. 13 seconds left. One of these teams goes down and loses in the final 13 seconds. And I don't care who it is.
Yeah, Tony, that's Super Bowl talk. Please don't. It's going to be Chargers, Cowboys in the Super Bowl this year. 100%. Lock it in.
I want the Vikings. Like, if we're going to pick, I don't want the Cowboys.
You want the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl, Tony, but you don't even think they can beat freaking Mike White?
You're asking me who I want, not who I think will be there. I want the Vikings. I want the Vikings on the biggest stage possible.
I saw Zero's comment. Can it be like a customized, like, LeBron James Cowboy jersey or something if I lose the bet? That would be nice. Joe, your thoughts here. KC taking it. AFC West division rival. You got full confidence in them winning this game?
I don't have full confidence in it. I just think they will win. The Bengals defense isn't like they were last year. I think they're playing down to the level that they are. They've won a couple games here and there, but they haven't looked like the Bengals of the past. Joe Mixon, I don't think is playing again, right? I think he's sitting out this one too.
Yeah, it's looking like he's trending towards not playing.
Jamar Chase is supposed to be back, which might help him out. But I just think Kansas City is going to have a better game plan. I think maybe I don't know. But like Tony said, I didn't like the way Kansas City played against the Rams last week. We all thought that game should have been 50-0, right? Should have been a nasty blowout. But you let the Rams hang around. And Zach Taylor came from the Rams organization, which means he's probably going to have some kind of same game plan, where they know some coaches know how to coach against Kansas City and they get it done. And Zach Taylor might have that game plan. And he might be one of those guys in the side that thorn in the side of Andy Reid. And hey, it could happen if the Bengals beat the Chiefs this week. I'm looking at the Bengals as coming back as contenders again now. But right now, I just had them as a Super Bowl run. That was a good little run, and now they're hanging in there. But if they beat the Chiefs this week, we got to put serious contenders back on the Bengals.
Yeah, this is a massive game between these two teams. This is going to be a fun one. I think it could turn into a shootout, and a shootout with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow is going to be fun to watch. I'm leaning Chiefs because, I don't know. I feel like Andy Reid's seen them twice now, and yeah, they beat them twice. It's been close games. I think that they get on the gas pedal and they just keep it on. In both of the other matchups, the Chiefs basically didn't play a half of football. I mean, they got shut down in the second half in the AFC Championship game. And if they play the full 4 quarters, those games are leaning towards becoming blowouts. I do think this will be a close game, especially, that KC doesn't have Tyreek Hill now on their side to go up against Jamar Chase when we talk about the race for who can score more points in this game. There's just something about it. I think that the Chiefs are going to be prepared, and I think that they're going to win a close one against the Bengals here, but we'll see how it goes. Seattle on the road in Los Angeles and Seattle. Please don't do it to me again. All year I doubt them. Doubt them against the Giants. Doubt them against all these other teams. Doubt them against my own Chargers. Finally, I take them 2 weeks in a row, 2 L's in a row. I do not want to know what my record is on Seahawks games this year. It's probably close to the Rams record. But, Tony, Rams stand no chance?
No chance. This would be my lock. Like, if I had to just go and say, like, I guarantee victory on this or something terrible, like I have to come in here wearing a Derek Carr jersey, something ugly. This would be the game I would bet it on. Because now Aaron Donald's gone. Like, Jalen Ramsey's going to look around at some point and be like, I'm not quitting, but my quad is a little tight, coach. Let me also get paid to just drink some Gatorade and chill with the homies on the side. Yeah. Oh, that last hit I took, I don't know. We should check concussion protocol. That was around. It's like, Jalen, you didn't even get hit. What are you talking? He's like, yeah, it was a couple plays ago. See, I can't even, I don't know. I'm disoriented. He wants out because everybody else is out. Like, even guys like got themselves traded, it seems like they were happy to leave a team that they just got a Super Bowl ring with. Like, how fast things can sour there. So I don't know. Like, I could see a world in which this team is so erratic. They're like, we don't have any picks, that they are also a team that just starts looking around and saying, hey, where would you like to go? Because we want to, we were thinking about trading you, blockbuster person. We're thinking about trading you, blockbuster person, like, so that we can just rebuild this thing. Because I think that could be the only way to energize Sean McVay long term.
Yeah, and if Jalen Ramsey or Aaron Donald are asking for a trade and are told they can pick their spot, which spot do you think they choose, Tony?
You already know where Jalen Ramsey's going.
Straight to the Los Angeles Chargers.
No, he's not. There's one team that Ramsey wanted to get traded to before he went to the Rams.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
He wants to go right back to Vegas and the silver and black.
No, Jalen Ramsey on record has said that my dream before I retire is to be a teammate of Derwin James.
I'll tell you what, depending on the amount of money Vegas can have him.
Don't do this. Don't do this, Tony.
Bro.
Don't give him Jalen Ramsey. I don't care. He's not the same Jalen Ramsey that was a lockdown corner with Jacksonville in his first couple years in LA.
No, but you already have a lockdown corner in J.C. Jackson.
Well, that's a whole different story with injury clauses and what's going on with him. But I'm just saying that I don't want to see one of my favorite players in silver and black anywhere else, Tony, but Vegas, please.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Last year, I was giving Mike a hard time, and I was telling him, I was like, Jalen Ramsey doesn't have it anymore. He's fallen off. And everybody always sends me the PFF metrics and what all the numbers and everything. But you can just kind of see it. When a corner's getting beat deep by Mike Evans, like in some of the other big plays, it's like you don't have what you had when you were the man. Like,
see, I think it might be time to move Jalen Ramsey to safety.
I would be all in favor of that, where he can still lock up guys occasionally one-on-one.
Yeah.
But like, because
he still has the smarts and the vision but sometimes the speed to stay with the guy or to get over there. And you've seen it, Tony, but it's not the first time that he's gotten beat. This isn't the first season that he's gotten beat a couple times. And that it just comes with age, and every cornerback gets beat. But yeah, I think every cornerback, every good cornerback, every great Hall of Fame cornerback goes to safety towards the end of their career, and you see
if you're a competitor, you will suffer defeat. Like, if you are truly somebody who loves to compete, doesn't matter who you are, you will suffer loss.
And my take with, like, for Jalen Ramsey as an example, he is such an aggressive corner. He tries to undercut a ton of routes. He tries to play like Trayvon Diggs, but he has better skills to cover the football field. But when that pass rush starts to disintegrate, those risks all of a sudden just look like bonehead decisions, but they were working out before because the quarterback is being hurried. Also, it wasn't just Jalen Ramsey I was talking about. Where do you guys think Aaron Donald would want to go if he could pick one team and go play with it right now?
I think Aaron Donald would just not want to leave LA.
I don't think Aaron Donald's the same though either. We've been talking about all the Rams this year, and Sean McVay. The rumors are already coming back up against him leaving. And how are you going to trade all these guys after you just made a living off of saying "fuck them picks"? Like you made T-shirts,
right?
Your general manager is saying "fuck them picks," and hey, you Los Angeles Rams, well, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Rams fans this year. Remember, all of them were out last year. We saw a shitload last year. They're all hiding. They all went back to San Francisco or where the hell they came from. But all those Ram fans from last year are all gone. They're all hiding just like these players are hiding. But you got your Super Bowl ring. You got to be happy. You got to be like, hey, we got our ring. A lot of teams would die for a Super Bowl ring. So you got it, and I'm glad you got it. But the Rams are not going to be good this year or next year. And if Sean McVay leaves and he pulls a Sean Payton, he goes, oh, we fucked the salary cap up. Let's get the hell out of here. Because that's what Sean Payton did. That's why I don't give Sean Payton a lot of credit for all these people are like calling for Sean Payton to come in. You got to remember, Sean Payton did the Saints dirty. He won the Super Bowl in 2006 or whatever it was. But he also put him in salary cap hell and then said, hey, deuces, I got to retire.
that is what's going on, I think, in LA. And the F them picks thing did get them a Super Bowl ring. So but I would trade it. If I could be promised that if I had to go through a dark age, but we can keep Justin Herbert through the 3 or 4 year rebuild that it takes for a Super Bowl, I would say push the fucking chips in.
Like the Rams are going to give up a top 3 pick. It's going to be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft next year for Detroit. Yeah. Detroit's going to come up with the top number 3 overall, maybe even number 1, number 2. Is that worth it for Detroit to be like, oh, we haven't won a Super Bowl ever? But the Rams won it because they gave up. Hell yeah, that's worth it. I'll give up my number 1 overall pick today if you tell me we're winning the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, and Aaron Donald will 100%, if they want to trade him and he's down to be traded, will be worth multiple of those picks, multiple to get him back.
When we evaluate the trades, like when we look back and we do our like hindsight on the season, I think that is something that I'm going to talk about. Is like that is one of the best trades on both sides I've ever seen. Like depending on who they get, because the Lions were not going to win with Stafford, but now all of a sudden they are going to have a top 3 pick with a roster that's trending in the right direction. And they have their own first round pick, which will be somewhere probably in the teens. So like this was a good move for them. And the Rams got a Super Bowl. It's worth it on both sides. Mm-hmm. Like there's no real loss to me from either one. Like who cares? They shot the shot and they won. And they got to booze and drink and party and talk shit, and now they suffer.
Sounds like another team up north that made that same trade and they haven't won the Super Bowl yet.
It sounds like
won. See, that's the thing I would say. The Seahawks trade was not as good.
No, I'm talking about the 49ers.
Oh, the 49ers.
49ers gave up basically the same package for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
We already talked about that. Like, that's on the verge of being the worst trade of all time.
And the Russell Wilson deal.
The Russell Wilson deal to me is bad, but not nearly as bad as
But it sounds like we lost this year. Be okay, but wear that Super Bowl shirt and that gear and wear it proud.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
If they win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G, that will look like the worst, most impulsive, desperate trade I've ever seen.
It was quite a move, but for the Detroit Lions, it sounds like a good time maybe to draft a quarterback and fire your head coach that's like 4-35 or something in his career so far.
You do not speak ill of Dan Campbell.
I'm just saying. Just saying. Might be time. This might be the time to get the wheels spinning on the operation over there. Anyways, on to the next one here. We got the Miami Dolphins. Joe's going with Tua against the San Francisco 49ers, who we just were talking about trades and everything. Tony, we've already talked about this game, I think, briefly. I don't know if it was private or if it was on live or what it was, but go ahead and give them your take.
I'm going with the 49ers defense on this one. I do think that Mike McDaniel is going to come up with new. I think these guys are going to try to like out genius each other. Like, oh, look at what I can do with Deebo Samuel, but look at what I did with Tyreek Hill. It's going to be like just like I'm smarter than you. Very interesting game. I'm excited. I'm going to try and find a way to rewatch this game in its entirety, like as long as it's good. But the 49ers front against a banged up Dolphins offensive line, give me those guys to make plays in this game. And then it's like, well, a lot of times the Dolphins go in because they have a mismatch of offensive weapons. You ran into the 49ers. The only thing that they might not have is whether or not Jimmy G is on his game that day. And if Jimmy G is on his game and slinging the rock to all of the weapons that he has, this game is there's no mismatch. It's just a team with both players have great players on offense, but defense, I side with the 49ers at this point.
Well, yeah, on defense you have to. And we've been talking about Miami not having a great defense all year. But I don't like Tua. I don't like Jimmy G. But I like Mike McDaniels. And I think Mike McDaniels has some of the insight information on the San Francisco 49ers. I think he was a big reason why San Francisco did some of the innovative plays that they had the last couple of years. He was a big reason in that offense. And I think he knows that they need to have Jimmy G pass that ball. He needs to get to Jimmy G to have Jimmy G put the game on Jimmy G's shoulders to win this game. And I think that's the game plan going in. Is Miami's going to they're going to take away everything else. Elijah Mitchell's out. They said CMC's hurting, right? CMC has a knee problem that everybody's not really talking about. But CMC's hurting. Now you got to put the game on Jimmy G. Trent Williams just left practice today with a back injury. He's probably not going to play on Sunday. So that knocks down the San Francisco offensive line just a little bit. So you got both of these guys going in. But I just think with the way that Mike McDaniels, I think he's going to find some trick-ass plays with the two wide receivers that he has. And I just trust a little bit in him that he can pick apart. Because think about it. This dude went against his defense all the time. He went up against his defense in practice. He knows their weaknesses. He knows how to do it. We've already seen multiple coaches or assistants that left teams this year went up against them, their former team, and won. This is just another one to do it.
I'm with the Niners in this game because of a huge mismatch I think could game wreck this, and that's the edge rushers versus the backup tackles. Both tackles for Miami are out, and the big thing for Miami is to run the football, bring the defenses up, and then they start slinging it deep over the top. The Niners also have a really good run defense, maybe the best in the league. So they're going to shut down the run. All it comes down to is Tua going to have time to even get the ball out to these weapons? Because I do think that Tua is doing one thing, and maybe Mike McDaniel knocked this into him, whatever it was. Tua, when you have time, we need you just to get the ball to your weapons. I don't care if it's underthrown. I don't care if it's slightly inaccurate. As long as you can get the ball to your weapons, even if you're taking a hit. He's been doing it this year, and that's what's been successful for the Dolphins. I don't think he's going to have the time to do it. I do think it's going to be a good game. It is.
I think multiple turnovers in this game. I think
a strip sack pick.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a fumble and a interception at least, maybe more.
A lot of the Dolphins fans are saying that Teron Armstead is back, but he has not practiced. All of the talk has been one press conference from Mike McDaniel earlier in the week that said if Teron Armstead can play, he will. He's listed as doubtful and did not practice all week. Doesn't sound good to me for playing.
He was back at practice today.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
What day is it today? The game's in a day and a half.
The injury that he has is not one that you feel super great about going out there and trying to gut through. What a torn
hey, here's a torn pec, but here's Joey Bosa.
Yeah, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, you gotta try and push against that. You can get all the shots you want, but at some point you're gonna something tears in there. You're gonna go to push, and you couldn't knock anybody over. You're out.
No. Look, I cannot say go 49ers. I can't root for the 49ers. I don't like Tua. I can't root for either one. But yeah, my personal bias is in this game where I'm saying, hey, 49er fans, no, I'm not rooting for your crappy ass team.
A couple weeks ago, you had no problem rooting for them.
Because it was the 49ers and the Chargers.
Let's go to the next game.
What
Them boys, clean sweep. Tell them why the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, Tony.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet, Zero, but I will say that what I watched from the Colts against like all of the hype that Jeff Saturday brought, it was gone. It was gone. It was there on Saturday, gone on Sunday. That should have been the name of the article.
He's not a great coach. He's not a good coach.
Hey, they found old Twitter things of Jeff Saturday saying, oh, that's bad clock management. We're going to talk about it on the show tomorrow. And then last week, his clock management was amazing.
But that's like, here's the problem. And this is what I would tell my kids right now. Don't have Twitter. Like, Twitter is the thing where everybody finds, because Twitter's just like, you're just dumping your thoughts. I have to comment on everything, right? So there is just a list of the diarrhea from your brain that gets dumped out onto this platform. And if you end up, they'll be able to come back and find anything. We never see people going, oh, look what they discovered on Instagram or this app or that app or whatever. 96% of the time, it is Twitter. We found this old tweet. And then he's like, did I send that two boxes of wine in on a Sunday afternoon talking shit because I never thought I would be in this position? Nothing good really comes from Twitter. Nothing. And Jeff Saturday is finding that out.
On TikTok, you'll just find me dancing 6 years from now.
Yeah.
Here's Joe Morley dancing, and here's Mike opening up a box of shit.
Oh, no. In 6 years, I will have left you guys high and dry by then. There's no way that I will be here listening to you talking shit about my Chargers anymore.
You'll be on there with Emmanuel Acho and everybody else and be like, Tony Tucker and Joe Morley who?
I'll be in the seat next to him and be like, hey, Acho, remember that time that I dislocated my knee? Bam! Straight into Acho's knee. There he goes. We both got dislocated knees in the set.
Hey, I just like it that this is playing out perfectly for all these Dallas Cowboy fans. This schedule has been one of the easiest schedules for them, and it's just playing out perfect. So when they get to the NFC playoffs, they get their ass kicked and they're one and done.
Last year, we said the same thing. This year, they're playing in the hardest division in football, and we're still saying it. What more do you want?
It's such a hard division. It's such a hard division. Come on, Mike. I don't give any of that division respect. I don't care what their records are.
What do you think the best division in football is?
Eagles are 10-1.
Yeah, by record, yeah, because their games are easy. They're playing shitty ass teams, Mike. Just wait. Okay, no. Let's actually, you know what? Let's crown them. Let's crown the Dallas Cowboys. Win the goddamn Super Bowl.
I'm just saying. Now they have a good division, and you still don't give them no damn credit, even though they had to do half of the season with a backup QB.
Tony, you picking the Panthers next week?
Yeah, hell yeah, Harrison. Here we go.
I went with Harrison. We lost, so I'm not doing that again.
Harrison, let us know which one of these guys you got winning, because I don't know who to pick here. But Tony, you're going with the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm done picking the Saints. I'm pissed off at them. They just have been extremely disappointing this year. I think the one thing that I think is going to be so interesting to me is how many one-and-done coaches could we see this offseason? Todd Bowles, Dennis Allen, Nathaniel Hackett. Like, am I missing?
Josh McDaniels?
Josh. Well, I think Josh is like – I think Josh is fine.
Hopefully, yeah.
To be honest, I hope that they fire him. I want the Raiders to start over.
No. I want them to keep him around and then just relive this season over again next year.
You just said that Josh McDaniels is fine.
Wink.
Bucks win in an ugly game that I don't really want to watch, but it's on TV, and so I listen to it. Tom Brady wins 18-16 over Andy Dalton.
I hate the Bucks too. I feel the exact same way about them that I feel about the Saints. I can't pick this game. I'm just picking the Bucks because they're at home and they have Tom Brady, but that didn't work for me last week. Joe,
I'm going with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know. Last week, me and Tony agreeing that we were like, Tampa Bay's coming back. They're coming off a bye, and they're gonna win the NFC. And then they go and lose that damn game to Cleveland that they had won, which worked out for my fantasy team because I had Njoku who scored that last touchdown, and it kind of worked out for me. But I'm just saying Tampa Bay needs to get back on track and get their stuff together. And Monday night, Tom Brady, I'm going with it. But did you guys see this? Derek's in the house.
What's up, Derek? Again? And why are you guys using Xboxes? We're in 2022. PlayStation, please.
Wait, he said he was at his house. You guys live close enough? How
to walk to each other's house.
Okay.
You're like neighbors, but only one house had power outage.
Yeah, and I also too like Derek. Here's what I would like. You guys need to hype up this rivalry. If you live close enough, there needs to be like a way for you guys to get paid for a little boxing match. Call it like the anti-celebrity boxing match. What would that be?
I wonder how that would look too, because I know what Johnny looks like. I have no idea what Derek looks like.
I've never seen Derek either.
That'd be a fun one, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that means anything. What the person size looks like, whatever.
Did Johnny win last week?
I don't know. I didn't look. I lost. So
normally he would be in here being like, "Hey, how about Johnny?" I started 4-0 in that league, Tony.
And you're not even going to make the playoffs.
I'm like 5-7 or 5-7.
Let's wrap this thing up and go talk Chargers, Mike.
Johnny did lose. That's why he's not in here. Johnny's on a 2-game losing streak.
Oh, let's talk about arthritis.
2 games.
Let's talk about arthritis.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk some arthritis. Go over the standings again, Joe.
So since the power outage story came out with Derek and Johnny hasn't been in here talking because Johnny is 10-2. He went 10-0 and now is 0-2 with Kittle's Taste the Rainbow on a 5-game win streak right behind him. And then Desperado, Tony Tucker in third place.
Renee's team's hot behind a very red hot Josh Jacobs.
I lost to him last week. Josh Jacobs got me in 3 leagues last week, and
that's painful.
It was brutal because I'm not saying I should have won, but I had a much better chance if Josh Jacobs didn't get 380 yards or whatever he had in that game.
Let's see, who's Johnny going against? Wishlist this week. So Wishlist is going to go against Johnny.
3-0 or 0-3. Wishlist going to get the dub. All right, we did it. We're about to be live over on Nuts and Bolts. If you guys want to join us to talk Chargers, 0 Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel. You want to continue this on? We're going to talk a lot of shit about Joe behind his back because he's not invited to that one.
Well, I would go back and talk in it, but last time you put me on a timeout.
Because you get in there and say dumb shit. How are we not going to mute you?
You start triggering our people. We're trying to talk to our people while they're fighting a Raider and Silver Allegiance or whatever the hell you call your page.
Not my fault you have dumb Charger fans.
Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure you guys like the video and listen to Coach here, who is actually going to be taking the job next year in Vegas.
Oh, time out. Bring it in. Closer. Right now. This is what I need you to do. I need you to scroll down right there and smash that subscribe button.
There it is. I will never coach for the Raiders or the Broncos, though.
The Condor Max Crosby gonna take down